This very simple first red day setup is easily the fastest way I have personally become profitable as a trader for now almost 10 years. And on top of that, it's a setup I've made over millions of dollars with, and most traders either completely ignore it or they know how to screw it up and do it backwards every single time. But today in this video, I am breaking it down step by step. We're going to go through some actual trades I've also taken so you can apply it to your trading strategy and hopefully start to make money from it. So let's break down why this setup works. What's the edge behind this setup? And the first thing people think is traders need 10 million indicators. They need dozens of monitors, right, to try to catch whatever setups under the sun. But this is actually very simple. And you could do it in even one chart. I did it with one chart for many years of my career. And it works because it's based on human psychology, right? I am looking for when traders are getting super greedy. When they get super greedy, that is when I am actually now getting most excited, or actually I'm getting greedy to want to actually short and not long. They're getting greedy on the long side, and that's when I kind of want to step in and think, okay, it's time to short. And so waiting on that exact timing when long's greed turns into fear is that kind of sentiment shift that I am trying to attack and be there for, because that's going to be the beginning of what is this first red day setup. The only kicker with this setup is that it's all about timing. Very good traders have very good timing. And so if you don't have good timing, you could just be part of the upside. You could get squeezed as a short seller. You could just feed into the long's greed and actually end up sending the stock higher, right? And ergo, you're going to take losses. But if you're able to time it correctly and you're putting yourself in the right odds-based scenarios, that is where you want to put yourself and position yourself and time it correctly to ultimately profit on the downside when fear or when greed turns into fear. So let's break these down step by step. And step number one is naturally a question most people have is like, well, Kyle, how do you find these setups? How do they come across your desk, your screen, etc.? Well, again, a very basic scanner should be able to help you find this. Again, I am scanning for big percent gainers. And as I'm scanning for big percent gainers every day, they're going to give me tickers that are going to be up 30, 40, 50, 60, 100% on the day. And once they're up hundreds of percent over a 2 or 3 day period, then we have something that's on the table where it's up enough and now it's on my radar to look for first red day. An example here of NBY. I'm going to show you a trade I took on NBY later in this video in a moment, but look at the example here, right? We gapped up to 150, and then over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, we are now up from 150 to nearly 450. So we're up 300% in 5 days. That is enough for me to say, hey, we are up, we are overdone, we are overextended, and now a possible first red day is on the horizon. Now, step two is easier said than done, but it's waiting for when that backside starts, right? It's too easy, and I've seen it all the time. Traders or short sellers want to short this thing, NBY here, every single day it goes higher. When you're fighting the trend, right? Your timing is off and you are going to be taking losses as the stock goes higher. The key is waiting until that shift happens, until you physically can see in the chart when the greed turns into fear. And this one, again, it's easier said than done, and we'll go into the intraday chart where you can see it better, but every single day you'll notice it actually gaps up. Every day we actually end up holding levels higher, whereas finally on this day, we are actually going lower. We are actually finally gapping down for the first time here, right? That is what I want to see. That is the shift, at least in this instance, where that greed turns into fear. And again, short sellers that are shorting all these levels up on the way up are just taking unnecessary losses, versus if you just had the patience and the discipline to wait for when this gaps down, that is going to be your spot right there, and that is the shift from greed to fear. Now, we've gone over how to find them, when that shift happens, but what's the actual maybe entry point, right? It's easy to see that something like NBY here gap down, but where's the entry point? When are we actually getting short? And again, this is going to be a little bit different for every kind of runner you may come across, but it's going to be typically under the list of these few things. It could be a new morning low. It could be a new lower low. It could be the first time the stock's actually going red on the day, meaning it's actually going below previous closing prices, right? In this case, NBY gapped down below those prices, so that could have been a signal on itself by the gap down. But essentially, it sounds so simple. But again, if a stock is in an uptrend, it's making higher highs, it's making new highs, it's kind of holding higher lows, it's making new support levels. Just flip that on its head. When are we making new lower lows? When are we making new low of days? When are we trying to go up, but we actually make a lower high, right? Once you start to see those shifts, those are going to be key points where you want to get short and are entry points for the eventual backside of moves like this. Now, that's the entry point, but what are we talking about exits? Well, there's going to be two types of exits. There's either an exit if you are wrong, you're stopping out for loss, or there's going to be the exit if you are profiting, right? Now, naturally, the loss or the risk level that I want to pick is usually the day high or the previous day high. So in this case, I am probably risking, what is this, 442, 444 444 is the exact high of NBY's run here. That would be the safest bet. Sometimes some traders who are aggressive, and I will do this sometimes, if you want to get short risking the day high, you could do that too. NBY in this case, as we look in the intraday chart in a moment, is going to be a little bit difficult in this scenario, but those two levels are going to be always the more higher odds places. Whenever you're risking somewhere below that or some level you made up in your head, it can be difficult. It can complicate things. I'm not saying it doesn't work. There's many ways to kind of go about it, but the highest odds is the kind of style I like, and that's going to be day high or previous day high. Now, what are we doing when we want to look to find a profit on the downside, right? If the actual trade works, where are we thinking? Well, again, it's not a perfect exact science, but the more extended the ticker is, the more hundreds of % up we are up, the more downside there theoretically could or should be. And so at the minimum, if something's up 100%, I'm usually looking for 10% downside, right? And not necessarily 10% downside from my entry, but 10% downside from maybe where the stock previously closed. Like the stock's going to be down 10% on the day. But again, it's not exact science. It could be up 300% and go down 15%, or it could be up 200% and go down 20%. But it typically, and in most cases, that 10 to 30% range is really the best of ranges. But really the 10 to 20 is probably the most likely. Very rarely am I catching first red days that are down 30%, but they do happen, right? It's not uncommon. It is not super rare. It's just not the most common, which is going to be negative 10, negative 15, negative 20%. In this case, NBY did panic all the way down to as low as 317, which was about, it was 20%. It was pushing that realm, right? Maybe a little more or under. But again, that's just the first red day. If some traders like to be patient, 3 days later, we're down at 230. We're almost 50% off the highs, a little bit less than that. But the more downside can come, but that first red day, the 10, 15% range, 20% range is where I like to look for covers. So now let's jump into some trades that I've actually taken. Again, NBY being the first example because we used as an example for the step-by-step process. Right here is a picture of the trade I actually took. This now is a little bit different because the death or the shift from greed to fear, like we talked about, happened actually in pre-market. So it wasn't out the open. But you can see here it was trading actually a gap up. Remember, we know on the high of day of that daily chart was 444. Well, in pre-market, it was actually gapping up to 470s. It was up here in the 470s. But then we actually have this huge crack. I missed it. I was not part of this crack. This white line is the previous closing line. So it closed at like 424, 423-ish. I am then getting short into this bounce, right? You could call this, like we talked about earlier, a lower high. It is setting a lower high, one below the all-time high run high of 444 during regular market hours, or these highs of pre-market. Okay, so then it dies and pulls back in further. Then the market opens. That's where this big volume comes in, and it's already down. I'm already up, over 5 or 6% on the position. And then all I do is wait for more downside, and I get my covers here at like 340, 330, or 350-ish, and I do cover the rest there. It did go a little bit lower, so again, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be able to cover the bottom every single time, but I was looking for just this predictable pull, and we got it. So again, after going up nearly 200-300% from 150 to 450, we finally had this massive crack, this massive now rejecting the previous day's close and actually putting in a significant lower high even before the market opens. So that was my entry to get short. I could have added more. I unfortunately didn't here, but it faded and I locked in about 10K profit and it was a good trade. Another example we have here is IOVA. This ticker ran from it was around chilling at $2 for a little bit, had a nice uptrend into 250s, but then we have 1, 2, 3 big green days taking it from 250 to now almost 450. We'll call it like 430 at the high. The exact high is actually 433. So again, we're approaching, or actually, from the real lows up over 100%, just over 100% in about a week or so. And that's enough. Again, it's not as extended as NBY was, but it's meeting most of the criteria. It's not perfect. It could always be better. It could always be more extended. But again, not every ticker is going to run 1,000%. So you kind of have to work with what you're given. This was good enough. So again, I'm looking for when is that shift from greed to fear happening. And in this case, very similar to NBY, the first time it gapped down, right? We gapped up here. We gapped up here. This time we're gapping down. Now this time, what makes it a little bit different though, different from NBY, is that we actually did spike. Right, so in that moment, traders might think there might be one more like a last gasp of greed. There might be one more attempt of traders thinking that, hey, this run might continue, and sometimes it does continue. Sometimes you do get like a false signal, and you do have to cut your losses as a short seller. But when it's not the false signal, it's actually the real confirmation, that is the time to get short. And so if we look into the actual trades here, right, this is the actual trade I took. Very similar to NBY in the fact that it actually did also crack for the first time in pre-market. Not all of them do that, but in these two examples, it did. And so this time, instead of missing NBY's crack, I actually did get in, right? So I am shorting that first initial move of weakness. Out the open, it does try to spike, but again, we looked at that previous daily chart. The previous day high is 433. It only spiked to like 404, 402, 403, right? And then immediately fails, so I short some more, makes kind of that first significant lower low of the previous day's high, which is the all-time highs run, right? Like we've been talking about. And then I got a pull. We went from, again, the previous close was right around $4. It pulled to around 460. I'm up about 10% of my position. And so I cover. I locked in like 11K or so on this trade. And yes, again, does it go lower? In this case, it absolutely does. But again, I am not here to capture the entire move. All in all, it ended up going down, almost like 15% of the day or so, maybe a little more or less. So it's overall good trade. But yeah, a very simple, straightforward red day that, again, I only had to trade it for really the first 1 to 2 hours. And that was that, making 10K in a day. The next example I want to go over is HGraph, HGRAF, the ticker is. And this is a good example where you could have a quote-unquote first red day setup, but it's just a small fraction or a small part of the equation of a much bigger run that ends up offering another first red day setup, right? So this one, even as I record this, it has still gone higher. But the red day I'm talking about, the one I profited on, if we zoom in, is this day right here on July 31st. Again, you look at the technicals, right? We look at how it's run in the past. Again, had a run from 20 cents to 40 cents, consolidated for 3 or 4 days, then ran from 40 cents to as high as $1.30. So all in all, whether you look at the first run, the second one, or both runs together, we are up hundreds of % in just a couple weeks at most, if not a few days or a couple days. And so again, I am looking for when is that greed going to turn into fear. This one, unlike NBY and IVOA, did not gap down. It actually gapped up. It actually gave you a spike above previous day's highs and then died. So this time you have to the game plan changes, right? But again, the principles are still the same. And so when we look into a daily chart, when we look into an intraday chart like HGraph has here, right, this is that morning spike that went over the previous levels, right? It topped out at 130, it pulled, and then double topped again at 130, pulled again, and then here's that crack. This white line here is the previous closing line, right? Again, where the stock previous closed on that day that it did set its high. Now, this is a new high, but again, it also had never really convincingly broke any previous day's close until right here. Right, so in terms of shift, in terms of entry points, this is that level right there. That's why you see me getting a lot of candles short, a lot of partial fills in here, but I ultimately did get some size. It does bounce, so it does kind of retest. It does, maybe people think like, hey, it might still try again. But this little yellow line is VWAP. I like to use VWAP sometimes to just get a gauge of the trend we're in. This time it did reject VWAP, which is a good sign. It also then rejected the support levels from the morning, right? These 115 levels. So kind of support turns into resistance. That's another good key thing to look for as well. And then it fades. So it goes from, the 1 to 105, 110 area down to about 85.90 or 85.80 cents, even as low as like the 70s for a brief moment. So we're talking 25%. And so I covered my size in the 85 to 77 range roughly. Locked in about 15K on this trade. And yeah, so very good overall run and first red day. And again, like I said briefly when we first brought up HGraph, it then holds up and actually keeps going and sets up for another first red day. Now, this first red day I actually missed. It's a little bit more difficult. Clearly, what we've been talking about in terms of green days and extension, this one was much more smoother than this one. This one was a little bit tricky, and so when they get tricky, it's much hard to capture. So I wouldn't blame yourself if you didn't capture this either. If you're a short seller like me, I actually missed this one as well. A little bit trickier, not as much characteristics or entry signals as we get on something similar like the first time. But again, you can't catch them all. You can't be part of them all. And so it's okay. It's all right. We move on. We live on. It didn't lose money, right? So being break even on a missed setup is better than always losing money. So something to keep in mind. Now, of course, these are all screenshotted trades that I took in the past that I'm using as good examples to show you how this works. But again, if you want to see these happen like in real time and actually play out in front of your screen as the market is open, or even during a live webinar, that is where that magic happens in Clover Trading. Feel free to scan the QR code in front of you or click the link below where you can get access to that and actually watch my commentary and trade planning as some of these trades happen live. But But next I want to talk about what are some of the pitfalls that traders use when it comes to this strategy. What are the reason why 95 to even 99% of traders could even fail at attempting not just this strategy, but really any strategy, but specifically first for red days. There's some pitfalls. There's some things that traders screw up on, and these are them. So some of those pitfalls are they short too early, right? We kind of briefly talked about it when we used NBY as an example. If we go back to that chart, or any of these runners really, it's easy to kind of just want to kind of not miss the time. And so you might convince yourself, you see greed turn into fear, or you see a lower low. And so you want to try to give it a shot. And so every single day you are just, fighting this ticker, fighting this trend, and you're taking unnecessary losses that by the time maybe you do profit here, you're overall red on the week or the overall trade because you just can't stop giving it tries on the front side. You're fighting the trend and you're not joining it when it's the correct time, okay? Or worst case, instead of you cutting it every single day and taking losses, you don't use a stop loss at all. And some traders might get short at 250, get squeezed to 450, and then just get lucky and get bailed out that it finally faded, 2 weeks later. I've seen that happen many, many times. And again, sometimes you're going to get away with it, but if you do it, I promise you, you're gonna eventually blow up your account. Some of these runs just go so much higher than you expect, and just to think that you can survive any squeeze is a disaster idea, is a terrible idea. So again, using stop losses, having just a risk level as a trader is more of an edge than most people realize. And lastly, on top of that is position sizing. Too many traders want to go for home runs. Too many traders want to be too aggressive, and it's easy to say to be aggressive when the time is right. But when the time is wrong, that can ruin your career. You could blow up your trading account if you do it incorrectly, or you do it too much, or you do it at all. Some traders just don't do it right. And so all in all, it all comes down to risk management. No strategy, no matter how profitable or how many step-by-steps I can give you, if you don't follow some of these last three things that I mentioned of sizing, risk management, stopping out, not overtrading, all those things that kind of tie into these three concepts, it doesn't matter how profitable your strategy is. You could still lose with an edge that works. And so that's a crucial part that you need to keep in mind for. Now, then immediately right after that, you might be like, how do you stop doing those three things, right? If you are, over trading and taking too many losses, if you are not positioning sizing correctly or stopping out correctly, what are some ways to mitigate that? Well, I like using a very general rule is called a 1% risk level. If you have a $10,000 account, you're only risking 1% if you stop out, right? I'm not going all in. I'm not even going half in. I'm using maybe 10 to 20% of that account to lose only 1% of the overall account. So maybe I got a short NBY of this $10,000 account. I only have a $1,000 position, but if I stop out and I'm wrong, I only lose $100 of that 10K account, right? If you can do that and have that kind of risk level and risk management, you have to take a lot of losses. Think about that. If you're following the 1% rule, just even if you didn't lower your 1% amount and you kept losing that 10K, you have to lose 100 times to be out of an account. So just think about that. Think about it in terms of longevity and surviving, right? Because that's ultimately what trading is in many cases. And another thing is tracking every trade, right? If you are making these mistakes, because again, eventually and inevitably every trader does, they have to kind of learn it even after someone teaches it. You still experience some level of these mistakes. Journaling it, recording it, ingraining it into your experience and being able to look back on it is so much more valuable than just letting it happen and not using it as a way to refine and to grow and to be better. Tracking it, journaling it, walking yourself through it. In many ways, you can become your own coach by doing so. So that's also very important. And lastly, when it comes to the FOMO or oversizing or wanting to hit the next home run, you have to learn to be detached. You have to learn detachment. Again, I made a good video on law of detachment. Probably link it below here if you guys want to watch that. But you have to learn to let go, right? No trade is going to make you, but one trade can break you. Okay, so you have to be willing to miss trades, to take proper sizing over oversized profits, right? And in fact, every time I try to go for home runs, it ends up being the quite opposite. It's very counterintuitive, where actually putting risk first actually leaves more money in your pocket than trying to think profits first, and you end up taking more losses, right? So being willing to miss trades, being willing to focus on sizing and having a proper process and then letting the profits come after. It's so counterintuitive. It can be so frustrating for someone who wants to just make it now and make it big. But I promise you, wanting that doesn't mean you get it. Wanting what gets you it, right? So wanting to follow a good process, wanting to follow proper risk management, that's what gets you there, not just wanting to be super rich tomorrow, right? So anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, if you want to get more in-depth access to this strategy and many other strategies and just many other live trades with myself, Dom or Huddy, Inside Clover Trading is exactly where you get access to that. Feel free to click the link in the description below this video, or again, scan that QR code. We'd love to see you in there, and hopefully we'll grow together. Thanks so much. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.